For as long as men and women have ventured across the seas, the ocean has been a place of mystery, challenge, and transformation. Sailors face long months away from land, unpredictable weather, and the vast emptiness of open water. To make sense of this world, and to give meaning to the milestones of their journeys, seafarers have created rituals and traditions that endure to this day. Among the most legendary of these are the ceremonies tied to crossing invisible but powerful lines, the Equator and the International Date Line. These rites of passage, the transformation of a pollywog into a shellback, and the initiation into the Order of the Golden Dragon are more than light-hearted ceremonies. They are timeless connections to the culture of the sea. Let's begin with the most famous of them all, the shellback tradition. For centuries, sailors have treated the crossing of the Equator as a moment of great significance. Before their first crossing, sailors are known as polywogs. They may be seasoned in other respects, but until they have crossed the line, they remain uninitiated. The transformation from pollywog to shellback is the central purpose of the ceremony. It is a rite of passage that marks a sailor's acceptance into King Neptune's domain, the southern seas. When a ship approaches the Equator, tradition holds that King Neptune, ruler of the seas, rises from the depths to greet the ship and inspect its crew. Of course, in practice, this role is played by a senior sailor dressed in costume, complete with a crown and trident. He is often joined by a court of attendants, the Queen of the Sea, the Royal Barber, the Royal Doctor, and sometimes even the Royal Baby, each role performed with humor and theatricality. The polywogs are summoned before the royal court to be judged. They may be required to confess their supposed sins at sea, recite humorous oaths, or endure challenges meant to prove their worthiness. In earlier centuries, these trials could be rough, dunking in seawater, bad haircuts, and other humiliations. But over time, the rituals have evolved into safer, more light-hearted spectacles. Today, they focus on humor, camaraderie, and shared experience, rather than hardship. Once the trials are complete, the polywogs are declared shellbacks. They are now recognized as true sons and daughters of Neptune, full members of the seafaring community. Certificates are often issued to commemorate the achievement, sometimes ornate and signed by King Neptune himself. Sailors treasure these documents as proof of their initiation and as reminders of a shared bond with countless others who have crossed before them. The roots of the shellback ceremony stretch back hundreds of years. In the age of exploration, when European powers sent fleets across the globe, sailors were often at sea for months without seeing land. Superstition ran deep, and rituals provided both relief from monotony and a sense of control in an unpredictable world. Crossing the Equator was not just a navigational milestone, it was a leap into the unknown. Navies adopted the tradition formally, and merchant fleets followed. Even passenger ships sometimes conducted ceremonies, entertaining travelers by initiating them into Neptune's realm. The tradition thus spread widely, adapting to each culture but keeping its central themes of transformation and belonging. As the shellback ceremony became established, variations emerged for sailors crossing other significant lines at the same time as the Equator. Crossing the Equator at the same time as the prime meridian, near 0 degrees longitude, is known as an emerald shellback. Crossing the Equator at the same time as the International Date Line is known as a golden shellback and is one of the most prestigious feats. This leads us to the second great maritime tradition, the Order of the Golden Dragon. This ceremony marks the crossing of the International Date Line, the line running down the Pacific Ocean at roughly 180 degrees longitude. While the equator divides north from south, the date line divides yesterday from today. Crossing it means stepping into the future or returning to the past, depending on your direction of travel. Sailors who cross this line for the first time are initiated into the Order of the Golden Dragon. Much like the Shellback ceremony, the initiation is often accompanied by humor, pageantry, and the awarding of a certificate. The imagery here is different. It draws not on King Neptune, but on the Dragon of the East, symbolizing the crossing into another realm of time and tradition. For centuries, this crossing held deep symbolic power. To sailors navigating the vast Pacific, the date line marked more than just a shift in the calendar. It was a reminder that the sea could bend time itself. Days could be lost or gained in an instant. For crews already accustomed to the strangeness of long voyages, this moment became one worth commemorating. The Golden Dragon ceremony, while often less elaborate than the Shellback rite, still builds camaraderie and pride. To hold the title is to be part of another select order of sailors, one that spans navies, merchant fleets, and explorers across the world. Taken together, the Shellback and Golden Dragon ceremonies reveal something essential about life at sea. Sailors live in a world defined by latitude, longitude, time zones, and meridians. These lines are abstract on charts, but on the ocean, they take on tangible meaning. Crossing them is more than a navigational detail. It is an event, an experience shared by the entire crew. These rituals transform invisible geography into living tradition. They give sailors something to look forward to, something to talk about, and something to remember long after the voyage is over. For new sailors, they are a test and a welcome. For experienced hands, they are a chance to relive the moment and to pass it on to the next generation. Certificates, keepsakes, and stories endure long after the ceremonies themselves. Ask any veteran sailor about their first Shellback initiation or their induction as a Golden Dragon, and you will likely get a smile, a laugh, and perhaps a story embellished with time. These traditions become part of a sailor's identity, a way of saying, "I belong to the sea." It's worth reflecting on why these traditions matter. In an age of satellite navigation, modern communications, and ships that can cross oceans in days rather than months, the rituals might seem old-fashioned, but they endure because they capture something timeless. The ocean still humbles us. It still separates those who have faced its vastness from those who have only imagined it. Crossing the equator or the date line is still a milestone, and sailors still crave the sense of belonging that comes from shared ritual. The Shellback and Golden Dragon ceremonies remind us that seafaring is not just about travel, it's about tradition, identity, and connection. They link today's sailors to those who braved wooden ships centuries ago. They remind us that while technology changes, the sea itself does not. So whether it's the transformation from polywog to Shellback under the watchful eye of King Neptune, or the induction into the Order of the Golden Dragon upon crossing through time at the international date line, these ceremonies continue to shape the culture of sailors worldwide. For those rare few who manage to achieve both at once, the honor of being a golden Shellback stands as the pinnacle of these maritime rites. If you enjoyed this journey into maritime tradition, subscribe to Tiller and Tide for more legends and history from the nautical world. Until then, fair winds and following seas.